Less than a year after being forced to close, of course, during the looting and riots, KZN business has now, of course, been hit by the flooding. They've been unable to move and receive goods due to badly damaged roads. The Durban harbour had to suspend operations for almost a week. So just how do we try and recover from this natural disaster? Let's speak to the chairperson of KwaZulu-Natal Business Chambers Council, Dominic Collett. Dominic, good morning to you. Good to have you with us. And I'm not even sure where, as a business chambers, you begin to try and fix a situation like this. Good morning. Just how bad is it in your mind?
Morning, Gareth, and morning, reviewers. It is horrific. As you said, we're coming on the back of looting last year, and businesses were just getting themselves right, and now we've got this flood situation. And it's pretty bad because it's affected our logistics corridors with the port and with the road network. So to recover from it, we actually have to rebuild the infrastructure. It's a fundamental aspect that needs to be fixed. It's not just business getting on their feet again. In the looting, it was a matter of businesses putting their factories together, getting their stock back in, getting the insurance claims through. But this is far more a disaster than what was last year because of that road logistics network. You know, the port supplies not only local import and export businesses, but is a connection for South Africa. So the fuel comes through the port, and then all the trucking and container import comes through here. So it is devastating.
As far as trying to prioritise, and I know this is an almost impossible question, Dominic, but I suppose we have to try and prioritise to begin somewhere. Where does the KZN Business Chambers Council see the priority being? I mean, we have people who've lost their homes, they've lost their lives, bridges collapsed, schools are closed. I can go on and on and on. We all know the problems, but where would your organisation, what would your organisation put at the top of your list?
Look at the immediate priorities. Obviously, we've seen a lot of unfortunate deaths now, and there are homes that don't exist and people that are now in dire straits. So we're calling, we've got a lot of NGO members in our chambers, and we're calling on people to support those NGOs. So if you're in Joburg, you know, give charity, give goods, give money to these NGOs who then can get it to the ground. We found that NGOs are the best place for people to have on the ground. They know who they have to get to. They've got their full network. We saw it in the looting too. Those NGOs networks are amazing. So you know that you're going to send your money to the right people. So our initial priorities, let's support those NGOs to get to the people in need right now on the ground. And then after that would be to start rebuilding infrastructure and getting those logistic networks open.
How worried are you about government handling the finances on this?
It was a great message that the President had last night. I think if we can create a state of disaster and be able to access national funding, that it's not burdened on the provincial fiscus, I think that is a very good move. Obviously, your question this morning to the viewers about whether the funds will go to the right places, we can't make that a limiting factor on the opportunity to use national funding. And I think if it's geared correctly and controlled correctly, it will have a huge benefit on the relief. So, I think the relief funds have to be managed correctly, but I think it is very positive, the actions that the government took last night.
And I'll just leave this as a final question to you. From the business perspective as well, it's always one thing to have a business recovery plan as far as a strategy for infrastructure is concerned, Dominic. But I would imagine as well, off the back of COVID-19, the July unrest and now the flooding, there must be a way to use this money from a business perspective to not just recover businesses, but also improve businesses going forward. Or else I just feel in a few years' time, another natural disaster, we're going to be back in the same place.
Yeah, absolutely. Climate change, we're going to see this again. In 2019, Easter weekend was very similar, not to the extent that we see this year. But it'll happen because of climate change. And I think we have to build that correctly, that we'll be in a position to be able to go through another period like this rain. with the looting and the COVID are not natural disaster. Well, I suppose COVID is a natural disaster, but we're now recovering plan number 3. So KZN is taking a huge knock. But you talk to business people and CEOs in KZN, they're always upbeat. They are such a resilient bunch. So I think there will be a recovery, and I think the money needs to be guided 100% correctly and put in the right places, that when we see another flood of similar magnitude, that we're able to be resilient against it.
Yeah, it's about the resilience and trying to stave off this kind of damage going forward. You can't stop Mother Nature, of course, but you can be better prepared for it. Never mind the fight against global warming as well. Dominic, I really appreciate your time. Thank you for speaking to us. Dominic Collett, Chair of the KZN Business Chambers Council. We're heading